What's up guys, Mega Bleeder here, back with another episode of Mechanical Mastery Plus. Today, I'm going to walk you through what I did between the episodes. I've been working on the base, and then we are going to start making some big automation changes and getting some processes ready for some fast acceleration through the pack. Let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, I have put up a lot of walls. I put in a staircase. Nothing really changed. I didn't change really any of the way that things are set up. I do have some ideas here that I have. There's a block here that's not quite correct. I was playing around with chisel and bits, and I like this stripe, but I also like this one. Both are challenging to set up. This one I just have to kind of easily cut out a section and then place a section of the purple concrete, but I'm not 100% certain. And then up top here, there are some chiseled glowstone, which is just these blocks. And then I installed some vibrant quartz glass, but everything is more or less pretty much the same. I didn't really change any of the setups, just everything is now enclosed in walls. I do want to answer a question that I had gotten though. Somebody asked why there were so many of the molecular assemblers surrounding each pattern provider. Let's see, do I have enough? Yeah, okay, so I'll kind of do this. So typically what you would do is place down a molecular assembler and a pattern provider. With a pattern provider, you could do something as simple as making these Certus quartz crystals. You could tell the system, hey, if you put 4 of these in a pattern like this, you will get this. So you'll program this pattern and then you'll put it into the pattern provider. What happens is when you request it, the pattern provider will send the pattern to this molecular assembler, it will craft it, and then it will send it back. But what we can do is put extra molecular assemblers on here. So let's say that within this pattern provider, we now have 5 different patterns. We want to craft Certus blocks, we want to craft quartz glass, chests, what else? Just anything. Skystone stairs, and let's say all of these items are part of another pattern. So we say, hey, give me item X, and that item X has 5 different items that it needs to make item X. The 5 items that the patterns are in here, it will utilize each one of these molecular assemblers as long as our crafting CPU has 5 different crafting coprocessors. So in this one line here, this is a crafting CPU. There is a 64K crafting storage on here. So each craft takes up a certain amount of bytes. So if we wanted to craft item X and there are 5 different items, what it will do is process all 5 at the same time, as long as we have 5 different coprocessors. Now, the more coprocessors we have, take for instance this CPU, this one has 10 total coprocessors. So in a large crafting recipe, this CPU can do 10 crafts at a time. Essentially what that means, if we had another pattern provider placed here, now those patterns that are in this one and in this one, if we had a bigger crafting process that we were trying to do, let's call that one item Y. If item Y had even more items that it needed to craft, the larger CPU would then take advantage of 10 possible processes that it can do at a time. Now, if we placed extra molecular assemblers on here, the reason that we put this many extra on here is because this molecular assembler right here is being shared between these 2 pattern providers. So if we are making a really big crafting process and it's taking up patterns in here, and it might be using all 5 of these, and it needs to craft something else that has patterns in here, this one will only use these 3 that are here, this one, and this one, that are not connected to this. This pattern provider could occupy this, and this molecular assembler. So by adding in extra molecular assemblers, we can ensure that as much space as possible is being used, as many molecular assemblers as possible are being used. That's why these systems are set up here. Each one of these has 8 pattern providers, 1, 2, 3, we can see them through 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And each one of these pattern providers is connected on each of its sides, like this one, with a molecular assembler. And then they all also have acceleration cards in them. So any crafts that we need to do within AE2 that are a standard crafting grid, like this one, or say this one, any of them that get used in here will go as fast as possible. Now this also works, the pattern provider also works with a furnace. So if we have a furnace placed down and we have a pattern provider, this is just vanilla mechanic, a furnace can accept items from the top. So if we have this pattern provider and this pattern provider says, hey, we can make charcoal if we put a burnable log in here. So we tell the pattern provider, we create a pattern that says, hey, log equals charcoal. The pattern provider will then export it into here, it will craft it up, and then we would have to send it back into our AE2 network, either through an import bus, or we could put a pipe on the bottom of this and route it back up into the back of this. Now, the really fun thing is that if we have a crafting process that says, hey, 9 charcoal equal a block of charcoal, we can tell our system, hey, craft me a block of charcoal, and then the system will then queue up the recipes in one of these, and it'll say, hey, it takes 9 oak logs to make 1 block of charcoal. It will then export the 9 logs into here. The furnace will cook it. They'll get sent back up into the pattern provider by a method of our choice. It'll get returned to the system, and then it will get sent over here, the 9 charcoal, put into the molecular assembler. It will craft it, and then it will automatically send it back into the pattern provider, giving us a block of charcoal. So having the extra molecular assemblers just makes the system operate faster. And having more coprocessors means more things can happen at a time. To have bigger crafting recipes, we need more crafting storages on here. So let's take, for instance, a creative item. Let's say this one right here. We set up an autocraft for a creative motor. It needs the multiplied ingot, blocks of netherite, a rotational speed controller, refined mechanism, and dragon heads, as well as the shaft here. And it's going to put those in a mechanical crafter. We can set up a pattern provider on a barrel, and we could tell our system that all of these items will equal a creative motor. And the AE2 system will then go through and craft all of these items and then put them into here, and then we can route it. With a bigger recipe like this, we could have all of the raw ingredients be the baseline. So let's take, for instance, the rotational speed controller. We need precision mechanism and brass casings. Our system could know how to make stripped logs using create, a sawmill. It could also know how to make brass ingots using the induction smelter. It could also know how to make gold plates, cogwheels, and iron nuggets using all of these and all of these respective processes. We could tell our system, hey, craft me a creative motor, and then it's going to spit out a really big process. Take, for instance, the controller. This uses 5,000 bytes. It's not a very big crafting recipe. It's not a very big one. The quantum rings, Certus quartz, skystone, these are things that are pretty simple. A craft like this doesn't take up very many bytes. In fact, if we used a crafting table, for instance, a crafting table, we have the 4 bytes, so it's just going to be a really quick process. Put these 4 items in, get this out. It's going to use 22 bytes. But then something like the controller, once again, if we wanted to craft it, it's going to use 5,000 bytes. We can make this even more extreme. Let's go down. Let's tell it to make 100. It's going to use 587,770 bytes. And there are no crafting CPUs available. Also, we have missing ingredients in here. This crafting CPU here only has 128,000 crafting storage. So if we wanted to make 100 crafting controllers, we would have to expand this a lot. We also could upgrade this with the Applied Energistics 2. It goes all the way up to 256 by default. And then we can also get into the mega cells, and we can also make mega crafting units. So this is a 1 million. We can go all the way up, I believe, yes, to 256 million. Now this does take an absolute ton of resources, but I just wanted to explain that really quickly. And that's a big beginning chunk of the video. So I hope that helped. I hope that was educational. Let me know if that makes sense, if you learned anything from that. So continuing on with our base tour, I added in some of these rooms. These are just covering up some cables currently. I did add an elevator. I'll show you that. This is a room here. There's some leaking water because of our water source upstairs. I'll fly around really quickly. These are just empty rooms currently. I just wanted to get it more fleshed out. They're not even all that well lit, but they are here. We've got some rooms here on this floor. What I did was just kind of copied this same design language that we used at the bottom in our concrete factory and over here on our ore lab. So that's why these are really similar and they're really basic. And here I placed down our market. I plan on making this a kitchen, and I believe, is it cooking? Cooking for Blockheads has kitchen items, and then Farmer's Delight. So we can use Farmer's Delight to make a whole big process here. We can put in stoves and cooking pots and whatnot to be able to make all of these recipes. So that's what'll be up here. There are still some weird lighting bugs. The glowstone is a little bit awkward as far as setting those up, but that's okay. I'll show you our elevator. So our elevator here, I'm using the RF Tools shield as like a door to keep us from falling down. I've got a display. This is the 3rd floor. We can hit our elevator call button. It'll pull our elevator up to us. We can go down to our 2nd floor. We can see that here I've got these rooms. I pulled the front of these out just a little bit, so our glowstone is in here. Our sheep farm is still in here. I'll put some more stuff. You can see that I just copy and pasted these. I just pasted them right over these other builds that are back here, our money build. I'll probably rebuild this again. I'm not 100% satisfied with the way it's set up, so I'll probably rebuild that again. And then over here, I just copied that whole entire structure, or I copied one of those and then pasted them down here. So we do have some more rooms. I didn't build out these rooms yet. I'm not 100% certain with what I want to do there. I'm probably going to move that create stuff that we had set up. I'm going to move that up here. And I think what I'll do is have these big areas built to house just complete mods. Like, I'll probably put create in here. Create's a bigger mod. It takes up a lot of space. So we'll put a bunch of create automations in there. We'll put some industrial foregoing automations in here. And maybe over here, the thermal series, and maybe over here, the mechanism series. And those will be spots for autocrafting that we'll use, similar to the furnace that I explained, where we tell the system, hey, put this item in, get this item out. Let's say, for instance, copper wire. We can put in this big room over here an automation that says, hey, stick copper plates in there in a rolling machine, you get copper wires. And we'll also tell it, hey, copper plates are made in a press. Or maybe over in another room, we'll put down a servo, multi-servo press, and say, hey, copper plates are made this way. So that's what I'm looking at there. Down here on the bottom level, we can see our elevator shaft goes all the way down, and the call button does work on each floor. To bring it down, I'll show you what that looks like inside here. So inside here, that was a door. I forgot I had put a door there. So I'll show this. It's a frame block with our concrete here, so we can open that up and close it. We're using the integrated dynamics logic cables here with a redstone reader and then a redstone writer to just send a signal to this block, which is on the other side of the elevator contact. So we can take this all the way back up to the 3rd floor. Sweet. Excellent. So what I'm going to do, probably set up industrial foregoing. And I think I'm going to set that up over in this area. So I'm going to get some more lights in here. I'm going to get some industrial foregoing ideas set up in my mind, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so I set up some lights, but I was thinking about it. I was going to start placing down machines. I ran cables over. We can take a look here. They're underground. Yep, they're in our wiring tunnel here. So I ran cables over. I was going to facade them, but then I remembered that, like, these are facaded, but then I remembered that we had our tunnels. So I facaded them up over here. They go up and they connect into our main network that is here. So we can see we have 13 channels coming off, and those are, if you remember, those are P2P channels, because that's our subnetwork. So the problem that I remembered is that we don't have a lot of ender gates, and if we're going to be powering machines, we're going to need that. So we're actually going to detour. We're not going to do industrial foregoing. I made a bunch of patterns there, but we're actually going to do POWA. So we need to get POWA auto-crafted. None of these are set up on Autocraft, so we need to start with the basics. We're going to need the dielectric rods of both orientations. We are also going to need the dielectric casing. The dielectric paste we could use this way, but we can also buy it from the shop. So I'll probably set up a buyer. Do I have one? We do not have one, and I don't think I have one in my backpack. So a tier 2, we could probably go with a tier 1 buyer, and then we're also going to need a drawer. We'll go with a single drawer here, and I did set up auto crafts for this. So using the frame drawers, and then I've got osmium for the outside and quartz for the inside. And then if we take our dielectric paste, we'll be able to buy that. I want to set up auto crafting in POWA. So let's set our dielectric paste over here. I'm going to rebuild these at some point as well. So if we do this, put a buyer there. We don't need that. This buyer is for cobblestone. Let's change these up. So a buyer there, and actually what I'm going to do is use a puller and another puller. This one is for cobblestone, so tell it, hey, buy cobblestone. This puller is going to pull from the up. This puller is going to pull from the north. From the north, let's take the sand out of there and put it back here. And why are you taking out cobblestone? I don't know where that cobblestone came from. Oh, I think it, you know what? I really don't know. So we need to set this to buy dielectric paste. And now that's going in there. And then we need to lock it and link it to this storage controller. There we go. And now if we look at POWA again, we can see our dielectric paste is going up easy. What I think I'm going to do is set up automations for each of the different energizing orb patterns that I think that we're going to need. Let's see. From the beginning, the energizing orb, we're not going to get into dry ice yet. Uraninite, not yet, but we are going to need energized steel, the niotic crystal, the blazing crystal, spirited. So let's mark these recipes. We don't want that one, but we do want that one. And this one. And this one. We don't need the charged Certus. We don't need that because it's going there. We're going to need that one. I don't know what I just removed, but we're going to place a new one there. And that's it. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So what we can do is say, hey, give me an energizing orb. And it'll craft those. And it'll craft it quickly. And I'm going to actually want 4 of them. So we'll get these. And then we're also going to need to auto-craft the energizing rods. So let's switch over to our pattern. say, hey, you make this, and substitutions are disabled, but we're going to need the capacitors. So let's make the capacitors, and then the energizing rod, we're going to use this to craft this guy, and we are going to allow substitutions because we want it to use the other energizing rods, and these things get tiered up. We're going to leave substitutions on. We're going to go all the way up to the green one, the spirited, because it's going up to the nitro. We don't have the ability to make the nitro crystals because we don't have nether stars. In the future, we'll probably get to nether stars. We also need all of these capacitors. Did I have that one yet? I did not. So the basic capacitor large. And then we'll have to just go and work our way up through the tiers. And this guy. And that guy. We're also going to need more patterns. So let's see. We've got all of that. We're going to need, because of these patterns, where are they? I don't have them set up yet. So let's see. The block of energized steel, that's going to be that one. The block of blazing crystal will be just a normal crafting recipe. The niotic will be crafted this way. Spirited crystal this way. And that's where we will stop for now. So all of these are standard crafting recipes. Let's see if we can put some of them in here in order. And if you remember from when I originally talked about it, each one of these lines represents a pattern provider. And the more that we spread them out, the better, because any crafts that have crafts in them, we don't want them to be in the same pattern provider. So let's go into AE2, and we need a pattern for the import bus. I don't think we're going to use the import bus though. We're going to use pipes. Let's see. Yes, I think we're going to use item pipes. What do logistic pipes take? They take the pretty pipe and steel. So let's not go with that. Let's just go, we're going to go with basic item pipes for the time being. And I'm going to place these here. And how can we space these out so that it makes sense? If we put them on this wall, we're 3 away here. If we go 3 away here, what does that leave us? We'll go 1, 2 on the third, 1, 2 on the third. There's 2 blocks in between. Okay, I like that. And we'll place these here. And then we're going to need pattern providers. We can place these on these guys. And these will need cables. And we're going to tell our system, hey, in here you make this one. And we lock until primary crafting result is returned, and we're going to turn blocking mode on. And we're going to hide it. So blocking mode, and if you right click, it'll go backwards on this one. So never until primary crafting is resolved or returned and not showing. This just hides it so that when we get on here, it doesn't show it, which just saves us a little bit in that process. And the orb. What was another craft that I know that we needed? The blazing crystal. Did I craft the blazing crystal? No. Did I put it in here? No. Show all. The blazing crystal We can craft those with blaze rods or with blaze. We will use, if blaze powder, we put it in here, we get a big return, so we're going to use that. So the blazing crystal is made this way. 4 of those will go into here. So now what we need to do is connect these, and we will do it from this backside. We're going to connect them in to each other here, and then those will go down. There'll be a P to P here that'll get connected into this cable. So we've got our dense cable that we'll place here. And we're going to need a P to P on that, so a P to P tunnel. Pop that guy in there, and that's facing the wrong direction because we need a little cable, because the P2Ps don't fit on big cables, but we can place that there, place a small one there, and then we're also going to need a memory card channel. Let's see, this one is for our crafting. This one has 11, 7, and 9. I believe these are our crafting CPUs. Let's go ahead and put it on this one. So if we copy that, so we can see this does not have a channel, but we can. It's an output side. It's carrying 4 signals. Cool. So now when we go and look at power, if I can ever learn how to spell it correctly, we can see the energized steel can be crafted. And if we say, hey, make me one of them, it's going to pop those into there, but we don't have any of the energizing rods. So we're going to have to grab those from up here. This is our manual crafting process that we had. And these, let's just take all of these and get a huge reward for our crafting, apparently, or for our items that we had crafted before. And now what we're going to do is place these cables. We'll start them here. And if we go at mechanism, we can craft more universal cables, and then we can upgrade these. We'll need some of these guys and these guys. We'll go all the way out to the end there. And then if you click this with this, it should upgrade it. And you can see it upgraded that one all the way onto that side. And if we click it again, it'll upgrade all of them. So it'll do it in place. These are hardened energizing rods. We can place those all down on these. And then we just need a gate. We'll put the gate back here. It's not really going to transfer power fast enough. And then I don't believe it's connected. Oh, no, it is connected. Look at that. So now what we need to do is get the items back into the system. And we will use our item pipes for that. And we'll disconnect there. Set these on extract. That'll get extracted and inserted back into the system. Boom. Block of energized steel. And it doesn't know how to craft that down yet, but we can tell it. We can say, hey, U equals that. We can also do that with these. That equals this one. The energized. No, that's not right. This one. That one. Because of the energized steel, it already thinks it's making it in that way. So these ones need to go into our pattern providers. And now we are all the way up to a spirited rod. So what we can do is say, hey, give me one of those. I'm going to take one of these, and I'm not sure if it'll use that, but we're going to try. So spirited rod, yes. So it's going to craft one. It says that it does have one available. Cool. So boom, look at that. Already got it crafted up. And now basically what I'm going to do is go through and upgrade all of these. Let's take 2 of them. I'm gonna tell it, hey, give me 2. It says that we have 2 available. It's gonna craft them. Awesome. And then let's just take all of them. We're gonna upgrade all 5 of them. What are we missing? Blocks of emerald. No big deal. I do still have some emeralds. Let's see if that'll do it. We're still missing the emerald blocks. I don't think I have these in a compacting drawer, I think is what the problem is. So give me 5 of those. It's doing some crafting right here. It's not transferring enough power because our gate is really limited. And now what will train the system on how to craft next is the new gates. So we want the gate that is the Ender Gate Spirited. So that comes from this guy. For that, we're going to need the spirited cables, which we'll do just from this. And we can put these in our system. And we can say, hey, give me a better gate. And it doesn't know how to craft the Ender Core. Did I not? Crafting is locked. Is that right? Crafting is unlocked. Crafting is locked. This is going really slow because it doesn't have these other connectors. There we go. And I'm not sure. Waiting for spirited crystal. Waiting for niotic crystal. So I think I need to modify these. Because I thought that it worked the other way. I thought that it would work just fine if they were connected to one, and that doesn't seem to be the case. That needs to be connected. And then let's go through and cancel these. And how many did I need? Let's see. How many do we have? We have 3. So I need 3 of these. Yes. So now, what is it crafting? Oh, I need to do that. Do that. To just reset these, and that one's not locked. It's still a little bit slow, but it's doing all right. Let's take our gates, pop a couple extra gates on here just to try and make it faster. This one should start after those are finished, or not. Let's see. In Power, there is a wrench. I do have it. A wrench, config, and link. Rotate, config. Okay, we'll change it to link. And we're gonna say U3. That doesn't work like that. It's my first time using this wrench. We'll link these up to the ones in front of it. And then these go to this one. I think that actually will work out pretty good. And then we're going to place down, I'm going to place down more of these cables. I'm going to let this finish, and then I'll be back. This is our power setup. Each one of the pattern providers only has one pattern. That way we don't have to wait on anything. And if we wanted to craft something, let's say we wanted to craft, we need 18 more of these spirited rods. We're going to need more emeralds. Those still are not in a compacting drawer. I'm not even sure if that would be enough. 18 of these. Blaze powder. I need to make a crafting recipe for blaze powder, but I don't have blazes automated just yet. But this is our power setup. I think this room looks pretty neat. I like the way it came out. I switched over to using the pipes from Pretty Pipes. I just think they look nicer. The pipes from Pipes are just like really bright, so they stand out a lot. And I think the Pretty Pipes look better. And these are pipe pressurizers, and they just make the items go faster. Like, let's say, for instance, we want to make, let's say, hey, make 10 of these. We'll see those come off into here, and then they're really quickly getting pulled out and put back into the system. Underneath, I'll show you that. I just have energy cables, spirited energy cables running across with our new spirited ender gates. So now we have power set up, so we can get a lot easier access to our wireless power. Let's just say, hey, make 10 of these, missing 2 eyes of ender, so I don't have those on Autocraft. Let's make those. Yep, those are not on Autocraft. So we can pop those into here. Now the gate will say, hey, make 10. And it should be able to do that, and those will pop up in there. So in here, what I want to do is set up, I know I said I wanted to work on industrial foregoing, but the next thing that we really need to do is get our automation set back up for the mechanical essence, for this yellow mechanical essence. And for that, we are going to need to automate the charges. And for those, we're going to need to automate the effigies, which are made with the charges because we need resident ender, energized glowstone, and destabilized redstone. Those need these alloys. So signalum, lumium, and derium. So we're going to need to set those up. So what we're going to need is induction smelters. So we have 2 of those, and we have some back at our old base. Let's see, old base. Coming back over here. These are all still set up over here. All these automations are still set up. So I think what I'm going to do is move all of these items, move all of these machines over into that thermal series room. And then from there, we'll automate. And I actually want to put buffers in between all of these, in between the induction smelter. I don't think there's really a use for the destabilized redstone other than the effigies. Oh, nope, there is. So to be able to make the creative blaze cake, but we don't need a lot of those. We'll only need 1, but it does have to run through here 100 times. And I'm assuming this is a bucket. So I will set up through thermal. Let's see. Actually, I'll probably use drawers. I was going to say I'll set up the fluid cell, but on each fluid cell, I would have to put a storage bus to be able to see it. So I think what I'll do is use the fluid drawers. These don't have framed versions, but I'll use those, and I'll put those in between to buffer the liquids. So I think what we'll do I have cardboard boxes? I have 2. Can I craft more? No, I need more sawdust. So the sawdust we get from pulverizing wood. Let's take a half a stack. And we need some cardboard boxes. Put those away, and let's go back to the old base. And I should be able to pick these up pretty easily, like so. And then I'll even be able to keep them in order, like this. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there was a lot that I cut out because there was a lot of rambling, a lot of trial and error, and it just wasn't something I think you would have enjoyed. So I'm gonna get you caught up on what I did. Let's head over here for starters. I set up a mob farm. We needed a mob farm. We needed to reset this up. So this is set up here. There's cursed earth there, fans blowing on it, a fully upgraded mob masher, and that's getting exported into this drawer here. We can see gunpowder and slime. all of these, we're getting more skulls, things like that. We've gotten, I guess, one iron ingot. I don't know how we've only gotten one, but what else? Up here in the thermal area, we kind of already saw that. I did get all of this set up. So over here we've got a pulverizer crushing diamonds, going into this induction smelter making inderium. That's getting melted into resonant ender, which goes into here. I'll show you my automation here. So what I have is an export bus exporting the dormant effigy into the fluid encapsulator. It's only doing this if there are less than 64 blizz powder in the system. So while I was setting it up, I got a bunch of this stuff like stocked up. I set this up to automatically turn it off. The fluid encapsulator automatically outputs to the clicker, which is up here. The same thing set up for blazes. It's exporting the effigy and lava. Those go into here, but it's only doing that if there's under 1024 blaze rods. Over here, I've got an automation set up for bone meal that's getting crafted into bone blocks. Here I set up automation. This is going to be a plate processor, so there's electrum plates in there. We need those to be able to make the augments. And then these are just two induction smelters that have patterns in between. So actually what it will do is it will import and export through here, and it'll utilize both machines. Over on this side, we automated lumium, the exact same process with the exact same emitter setup. And then over here, the signalum and the basalt powder. Over here, it's the blitz powder, obviously the blaze rod, and then over here, the blizz powder. For the effigies, those are automated over here. So I've got additional bones coming in just to try and get us fully saturated on that. There's black dye in here, and then in here we've got the dormant effigy being crafted. We're exporting bones, basic mechanical essence, bones blocks, and skeleton skulls. Those are all just coming in here, trying to fully saturate this as much as we can. And then there's a storage bus connected onto here. And then we need a couple of these guys to cover up these cables. Oh, that one's not correct. We need one of these. There we go. I didn't change up this floor just yet. I'll get to that later, but now we've got effigies coming in there, and that's just about it. I also set up water. I don't think I showed this before. This is automation for blue ice, and the small water freezer is way better for blue ice. I set these up basically at the same time, and this isn't upgraded all the way, but I could try that. And that might make it significantly faster, but it's got a long ways to go to be able to catch up with this one. And then also I needed to automate lava. So I set that up down here. It's like a mirrored system that we use for glowstone, but we're using it to just create extra netherrack that's going in here. I also, just for the extra resources, set up a material stonework factory that's getting water and lava to create netherrack, and the water and lava is coming from in here. And then our water automation is coming in here. So we've got the aqueous accumulator, we've got the electric pump, and we also have a mechanical pump, all pumping into a water drawer, and then we've got a lava drawer from the system up here collecting water, or I'm sorry, lava. So we've got water and lava fully automated and fully in the system. If we look, we can see water, and we can also see lava. So those are all good. So I've got all that set up. What I'm going to do is go ahead and leave the episode here. I'm going to get it edited and get it uploaded. And thanks for stopping in.